Hi, this is Nancy Damiano with this week's episode of Scrap Your Stash, brought to you by 2peasinabucket.com. This week's episode, I am taking a look at 12 by 12 chipboard sheets and birthday photos. Now, these 12 by 12 chipboard sheets, I would buy one with almost every collection that I loved. So I have this huge stash of them. Most of them, I'll use one or two of them and then never go back to them. So now I've been choosier on the ones that I'll actually purchase. They have to have at least 4 icons that I know I'll use. I like this Ferris wheel for rides. The balloons we're going to use today for birthday. This frame is perfect for any theme. And then it has all the classic summer beach icons too. I know this was a good purchase and I'll get a lot of good use out of it. Let's take a look at some of the embellishments that I chose. This is Vintage Bliss by Simple Stories, and this matches the Pier crepe paper in color and tone. It goes really well with the embellishments. And this is a really pretty girly line. I'm going to do a first birthday from my niece. So I chose these nice hot pink colors. I love this wood. It has great Polaroids and butterflies and a pretty teal color to sort of balance out all that hot pink. And then these are the neutrals that come in the collection pack. Now, most of this is sold out. It's in my supply list. If you click on the request button, you'll get an email when it comes back into the store. And those are the pinwheels from the Pier. And you can see that the two collections are almost seamless. They look like they all belong together. These are a few of the embellishments that I chose. Some chipboard frames, washi, enamel dots. And these are a few cards. One from the balloons are from Crate, the Pier, and the rest are from Simple Stories. Again, hard to tell the two collections apart almost. And 2 alphabet choices. After going through all my supplies, I decided to use this really bright chevron because the layout is going to be based on white and I want a lot of color to pop. I chose the white because that's what the picture looked the best on. The picture itself has a lot of people and a lot of colors in it. Now there's a really specific piece of this pattern paper that I want to use. I definitely want to highlight the hot pink, and so that's why I'm cutting it up, and I'm only going to use that top portion and then line up the white cardstock. I just want to make sure that when I put both pieces together I still have a 12 by 12 page, so I'm going to trim that. On this page, we're going to use just one single photo to tell the story, and I'll show you at the end of the video what I did with the rest of the photos. I'm choosing some flat elements, the journal card, and some chipboard frames from the Pier to build some layers. This is Dear Lizzie Neapolitan, that teal piece. I just happened to have that scrap around, and it went well. I love the yellow strip on the bottom. And then here I have different shape squares and rectangles, and it gives my page shape. Using up a little bit of that chipboard from the 12 by 12 sheet. And then right here I'm going to add the journaling. I finished up the journaling. I just cleaned it up a little bit, the pencil lines I left. I use an Epson 1400 wide format printer. That's a question that I get a lot. I picked it up on Amazon pretty cheaply, probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And I do love it for the flexibility of being able to print anywhere on my layout. Here I'm just going to put it all back together again and then start adding more embellishments. Now this spot down here is perfect for my title. I had chosen 2 different options. One are these thickers, which I love the colors and how they're ombre, but they looked a little too thin, like they didn't make enough of a bold impact on the page, and they didn't balance out with that bold print at the top. So these were a better choice. So these are cream letters by Fancy Pants, and I'm just going to spell out Hello 1 backwards here so that it fits in my space. And then you can see how that fills in that spot, it adds texture to the page and not more color. So it doesn't compete with either the pattern at the top and it doesn't compete with the photo in the center. Taking a look at the journal card, I decided to add a little bit of stamping there because it was an empty white spot. It was a little bit awkward, even though the chipboard sticker is going to cover part of it. And that's just a roller stamp. It says, "Remember this." Now to balance out those balloons, I'm going to use this chipboard frame and I'm going to fill it with some sequins just to add some movement and a little bit of more color to the page. I'm going to use this 8.5 by 11 page protector that I don't use anymore. And I'm going to cut it up to make a pocket. Now 2 sides are already sealed for me, so it cuts down on the work and I know it's not going to fall apart. I love this orange tape. It's also super strong, double-sided. I use it for anything that I really don't want to come apart. Just a few sequins because that's all I had left. I probably would have added more if I had more, maybe one more color as well. You could also add an initial in there or a big number 1. It's a lot of fun things that you can do with pockets, and I love these chipboard frames for that. We're going to get that down on the page and we're almost done. Taking one last look at the page, I'm adding to add a few little details here and there. So first thing I'm going to look through is my chipboard, and I find this yellow geotag, but I'm going to use it as a photo turn and to add a little pop of yellow. Some washi tape up at the top, little tiny pink dots. They're barely there, but they fill up that space. Always a few enamel dots. It's just a nice finishing touch. And one last enamel dot just to make that title pop. I'm going to add one more small detail to the page, which is another geotag symbol turned on its side so it looks like a photo turn. And I'm going to layer it right here on top of the chipboard one. And that's it. That completes the page. Okay, so I completed the page and I used one photo from my niece's birthday party, and I know what you're going to ask me. What did you do with the rest of the pictures? Of course, I took maybe 50 pictures at this birthday party, and I ended up with probably about 15 or 16 shots that I really loved. And I don't necessarily want to make a big 2-page layout with a lot of pictures. I just don't want to spend that kind of time on this. 2-page layouts, I love them, but the more photos, the more difficult and more time consuming the design process is, at least for me. So what I found as a good option is to use pocket scrapbooking. So I'm using all the products that are out there for Project Life to scrapbook all of those extra photos. And my photos really shine. I like how they're mostly I mostly use 4x6s, and then I get to embellish little squares or little portions of it, so I still get the craft in, and I also tie it in to the color and theme that I used on the scrapbook layout that I just made. I also store them in the book together. So let's take a look at all of these pages and what I did with each of the pocket pages. I started by using this page protector by Becky Higgins, Project Life. It gave me a great place to put 3 of my favorite photos and then 2 spots, one for the date and one large journaling block, which I embellished with a pinwheel from the Pier by Crate. And that was a straw that you saw there as well. Now this, on this side, I used a photo enlargement instead of a large journaling block. And then 3 more 4x6s, and then I used, this is Vintage Bliss by Simple Stories, and I used 1 small block to embellish. This is an enlargement. This is what I do when I have a horizontal photo that doesn't fit anywhere else. I enlarge it and use it in this spot. This is her thank you note, and a little bunch of envelopes, which I used as an embellishment because I can't find the invitation anywhere, so I had to fill up that spot. And then here I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of my favorite shots and a transparency also from the Vintage Bliss line. I was able to get 15 of my favorite photos into my scrapbook in under 2 hours. And that's what I love about pocket scrapbooking. It's quick and it's still crafty, and I think it really showcases the photos very well. I hope you consider this the next time you do any kind of event or theme scrapbooking where you have more pictures than time. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.